Sarah Boone was found guilty by a jury of her peers. The question now is, how long could her sentence be? Will we find the answer from the judge himself? Here, let's have a listen to the judge ask Sarah Boone how she wishes to go forward with the state's plea deal that she was offered on the 8th of October, 2024.
Do you understand that if we were to proceed to trial in this matter, and if you were found guilty, the lowest permissible sentence that the court could levy in this case would be 22.5 years in the Department of Corrections? Do you understand that? Do you understand the state's offer to resolve this case?
Yes.
Okay.
The offer is 15 years to a lesser included charge of manslaughter, with the understanding that she would serve 85% of that sentence.
That's up to the department and her behavior, but that is my understanding of the section.
Ma'am, understanding the state's offer, do you wish to accept or reject the state's offer to resolve this case?
Reject.
So let's hear the verdict.
State, do you recognize our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you recognize our jury?
Yes,
Right. Members of the jury, you may be seated. Thank you. Members of our jury, good evening. I understand that you've come to a verdict in this case.
Yes.
If you could please hand the verdict form to the deputy, please. Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, if you could please publish the verdict.
In the Circuit Court of the 9th Judicial Circuit and in Orange County, Florida, case number 2020 CF 2603, the state of Florida versus Sarah Boone. Verdict. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree as charged in the information. So say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, on this 25th day of October 2024. The form has been signed by the foreperson.
Now we're going to hear why Sarah Boone is entitled to a pre-sentence report. So let's have a listen to that.
Ms. Boone, the jury has spoken in this matter and has found you guilty of murder in the second degree. The court adjudicates you guilty of murder in the second degree. As this is your first felony conviction, you are entitled to a pre-sentencing investigation by the Department of Corrections. Mr. Owens, are you seeking that in this case?
Yes.
Some of you, if you've watched my previous videos, you may know that I used to be a community parole officer and I would submit pre-sentencing and post-sentencing reports. And if you want to know how important they are and how sentencing factors make a difference, I discussed this in the video you can see on the screen using the Lori Vello Daybell trial as a backdrop. So check that out in my playlist.
As this is your first felony conviction, you are entitled to a pre-sentencing investigation by the Department of Corrections. Mr. Owens, are you seeking that in this case?
Yes.
Okay. State, I will order the Department of Corrections to prepare the pre-sentencing investigation. State, for the purposes of sentencing, do you anticipate eliciting any testimony from, be it the victim's family?
2 or 3 victim impact statements, sir.
We will hear from, the victim's family, and they could also ask for the court to give the maximum. And if you want to hear all about, the differences with victim impact statements and, what they are in England, then check out the video I have on the screen, because I think you'll find the differences really interesting. So, I'll leave a link to that as well.
State, for the purposes of sentencing, do you anticipate eliciting any testimony from, be it the victim's family?
2 or 3 victim impact statements, sir.
Okay. Mr. Owens, do you plan on presenting any evidence during the course of the sentencing hearing, sir?
Probably some testimony from Dr. Harper.
Okay. All right.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of wondering if Sarah Boone wishes she could have rolled back the time and taken the plea offer. Well, we have an answer to that too. Let's listen to what her attorney had to say when Court TV caught up with him after the verdict.
Mr. Owens, Sarah Boone was offered a plea deal in this case, manslaughter. She did not take it. What do you think now, having the verdict?
Well, ultimately, that's their decision. They've got a couple of fundamental decisions. One is whether to plead guilty to anything, and the other is whether to go to trial, and the other is, whether to testify, and then the other is whether to appeal. And so Sarah Boone maintained that she wanted a trial the entire time, and we did discuss, there were plea negotiations, and there were offers on the table for the lesser charge of manslaughter, but Sarah ultimately rejected those offers and wanted her day in court.
Well, Sarah Boone did get her day in court. And I just played a small clip, so if you want to go over to Court TV and listen to their panel, I invite you to do so. If you remember, we heard the state say that if Sarah Boone was found guilty of manslaughter, they would agree a sentence of 15 years. Now, this is kind of confusing. If she was found guilty of second-degree murder, my research indicates the lowest sentence would be a starting point of 16.75 years. So which is it? The judge said 22.5 years was the starting point. Well, guess who else is confused? Let's listen to Sarah Boone's attorney when Court TV had their exclusive interview with him.
I think the prosecutor had said the low end of the guidelines was 22 years, and I think the judge told Sarah that. So I think that probably is the minimum, unless there's something I'm missing, maybe a downward departure. I don't know that she would qualify, but the judge has a range, and the judge has the discretion. And the judge, is going to hear from the victim's family, and then the judge is going to hear from Dr. Harper, and ultimately the judge is going to have to hear from Sarah Boone about this. I don't know what her position is going to be, but we'll see.
What the judge didn't say was the maximum, and the maximum is life in prison. And in Florida, life means life. We just heard that there are many factors that play into sentencing. So we heard the verdict, and second-degree murder is when the accused has not premeditated killing, but they have this general intent to cause harm to the victim. And in my view, Sarah Boone fits into this mental state of having malice and forethought, which covers their actions were recklessly indifferent to human life, causing serious bodily harm to someone that results in their death. And so I think second-degree murder does fit. And to keep it simple, without intention or malice is the lesser charge of manslaughter. Sarah Boone's attorney said there could be possible appeals. Let's hear him talk about that.
I explained to her she had a right to an appeal, and she had 2 or 3 good appellate issues, so I told her to keep her head up.
Okay, now this is purely speculation on my part, but I was wondering if there was a possible appeal regarding the state's expert witness that gave testimony on battered spouse syndrome, and she kind of gave her opinion that Sarah Boone was not in imminent harm or danger, but I think it's probably better for you to listen to what she actually said. So here, let's watch that.
Based on your evaluation of Ms. Boone and what she relayed to you about the facts of the case, does PTSD or BSS have any relation?
Overruled.
No. And what particular part of her statements about the incident is that?
The whole part where she's describing the part about playing hide and seek and that they were having a good time, they were laughing, when he got in the suitcase, when she found him, they were enjoying themselves, she zipped him up, they were still laughing, having a good time. All of that isn't consistent with her having a feeling of she had imminent risk or there was an imminent risk of harm that she needed to protect herself.
Yes.
Oh boy, the defense objects. Remember, this expert only saw Sarah Boone for 2 hours in person, and so the rest of her, evaluation is done from some of the documents, from my understanding, from some of the discovery, but not all of it. So anyway, they go to a sidebar and they argue that basically an expert witness cannot give an opinion if Sarah Boone was in imminent danger or harm, as that is for the jury to decide. After they went to sidebar, that, it wasn't for this witness to decide. She can give her opinions as to if Sarah Boone fits the criteria of battered spouse syndrome. Now, the state obviously argued against it, and the judge, I believe, just, said he didn't think there was a problem with what she said. So I do think this could be an appeal issue, and I'm hesitant to give my opinion since the state and the defense couldn't agree. But I tend to agree with the defense that an expert should not be deciding elements of a defense that is meant for the jury to decide. So most appeals don't get granted. A very large percentage of them don't. And they are very costly. However, if there is a question of law that needs to be decided by a higher court, then I think they're worth it so that future cases have clarity. So, what's your thoughts? Before going, I just want to give a big shout out to Trial TV Live. They are a smaller channel, so check them out. If you're like me and you like to go back and forth and talk to people in the chat, then it's perfect. And smaller channels give you that opportunity, because some of the other bigger channels, they've got so many comments that you can't keep up with them when you're watching something live. So I just want to give them a big shout out. They have a variety of different trials on there. Yeah, so please check them out. By leaving a comment, you may help someone else that will read your comment. And of course, I love to read all comments as they are valued, and together we can be more informed. And this information may help you or someone you know. In the meantime, on this channel, you'll find a variety of playlists to suit every curiosity about the justice system. And we provide you with a visual to information and the process. Going through a legal worry is devastating, and the Who Knew and Why Me playlists are designed to help you or someone you know. So please like this video if you like this kind of content. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to be notified when I'm going live or upload another video. I'm Karen Cole from Legal Minded Friends. Information is power, meaning if you know something, you can make decisions that are right for you.